Hey guys, Steelers 34, Bengals 12. I would imagine that still sounds good to most of you. Some of you can't be made happy by anything. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Double Shot of Steelers presented by FanDuel. And whether or not anybody likes it, this is going to be an upbeat show because this was an upbeat event. The Steelers did more than just pound on an AFC North rival by a significant count and gain all of that revenge, whether it's aesthetic or just from a football standpoint. They also righted themselves in a lot of different ways. And that's the part that I want to get into today before we turn the page really and get into what's coming this weekend in Chicago. Because there's a lot that could have gone wrong yesterday, and everyone would have said, yeah, that was to be expected. I don't know that anybody would have foreseen the level of defense that the Steelers played, even if you take out the takeaways. That's important to note here. And the takeaways were kind of a big deal, 2 defensive touchdowns. I don't think that anybody would have foreseen the way the secondary carried itself. I don't think that anyone would have foreseen the defensive adjustments that were made by Terrell Austin and Mike Tomlin that were smart, that were not handled well at all by Zach Taylor and the Bengals staff. And I don't know that anybody could have foreseen everything that happened at the quarterback position yesterday, flipping to the other side of the ball. There's a lot there. There's a lot that went into this W and a lot of credit to give. Before we cut the break and I bring Chris in, I want to throw one thing out here. This is just from me to you. One thing about this program, the other stuff that we do, the other coverage that we do at DK Pittsburgh Sports, you might find at times where it feels like it's a tennis match. I thought he hated Tomlin. Oh, man, no, he loves Tomlin. You should have heard what he said after the W or whatever. The tennis match in this equation, the back and forth, the flailing, that's being done by your football team, my friends. All we're doing is covering it. And it's so strange. I agree that this team can't find any consistency in terms of how it's coached, in terms of how they execute, in terms of their approach, and all that other stuff. But all we're doing is covering it. They themselves will tell you that their biggest issue, the Steelers, is consistency. We're going to hear that all week long. Yeah, we got it done against these guys, but now we got to get it done in Chicago. All they're going to talk about, I can tell you right now, is consistency. Well, we are under no such duress. If they stink, we're going to tell you that they stink. If they do things great, whether it's against Indianapolis or what they just did here yesterday, that's what we're going to talk about. It's not that hard. It's not that complicated. So I just wanted to throw that out there so everybody kind of keeps that in mind. To me, from my own perspective, I have always hated listening to or watching or reading somebody who just pounds the same thing no matter how much circumstances change. Yeah, but they stink. Or yeah, but they're great. I can't stand that stuff. I can't stand it. It only tells me that you're not being honest with me half the time. And I will tune you out every single time. All right, guys, when we come back, I'm going to be joined by Chris Halleck.
For those of you who are doing real work in construction, in a warehouse, if you're a mechanic, you want reliable, comfortable gear to help you perform well on the job. Brunt Workwear's got you. They've got waterproof boots, safety toe, soft toe, pull-on, lace-up, whatever you need. You can wear them to work, and if they're not right for you, send them back. I don't know of any other brand doing that. Brunt was tired of the workwear brands out there cutting corners. You work too hard to be stuck in uncomfortable boots that don't hold up. So they built something better. Boots that are insanely comfortable and built for any job site. For a limited time, our listeners get $10 off. Just head to bruntworkwear.com. Use the code DK Sports and you're good to go. After you order, they'll ask you where you heard about Brunt. Do us a favor here at DK Pittsburgh Sports and tell them it was from this show.
Welcome back. It's time to be joined by Chris Halleck. It's also time to look ahead to whatever Steelers and Bears might be shaping up at line-wise here. The Bears are 7-3. The Bears, when you look at their schedule, they're one of those teams where the word phony gets attached a lot because they don't feel like they're a 7-3 team, and not just because they're the Bears. Not just because. They also happen to, not exactly floor a lot of people when they see them. But want to know something? Winning is winning in football. And people will appreciate and respect whenever it is that the winning happens, regardless of how it happens. Remember the Steelers starting out 11-0. We have you over there, Chris.
Yeah, we're having some issues with our electric right now. So we're trying to get that figured out, like literally live right here in our Westmoreland County Bureau.
What's that line on Steelers and Bears?
It started out as Chicago -3. So
what's -3 mean? Oh, and there went Chris. Well, this is a good time to remind you that with football season in full swing, it is time to check out the latest odds, futures, and win totals on the FanDuel Sportsbook. If you think the Steelers are going to continue taking care of business and that they will finish off the Bears in Chicago and put together a couple of nice performances in a row, which is okay to do, lock in your bets today. Whatever your game, the FanDuel Sportsbook delivers the latest lines, futures, and specials so that you can join in on all of the action. Let's see if you guys can help out here. Frank Ray says that means the Bears are the favorite. Bears would then be favored by 3 points. And George Brownfield says it means you subtract 3 points from the Bears. This is probably a helpful thing to share with some people. Not everybody understands what just the Bears are -3. Oh no, they're going to lose by 3. No, it means that the Bears are favored to win by 3. That's not a huge margin, but it's something. Anytime the Bears are favored to win anything. John Juback notes that there's no electricity in North for sales. Apparently not. Apparently not. That's just how that goes. 3 points is the standard home field line. Helps out David Hard. That's appreciated. Mr. CJ says that the home team usually gets 3 points. That's not. So basically, what's that mean? That it's a draw? They're seeing it as a draw? They're seeing it as a tight matchup? Because I sure would. Anyway, let's do some of this, because some of you mentioned a couple of subjects that are near and dear to my heart. This one comes from M. Dodd, who says, DK, do you believe that Mason is better for the Steelers offense simply based on the fact that he is willing to stand in the pocket and not bail after the first read? Hear out the whole answer before you judge it. No, I don't believe that would be the singular reason for it. If it was, you could just put anybody back there and have them stand there and, watch them get tackled or intercepted or have the ball knocked away. Mason doesn't just stand there. Mason stands there and makes plays when he's on his game. And we saw him gradually come around. When I say gradually here, actually from talking to him yesterday, it took him a handful of plays until you could see his feet settled and he locked in and he got purposeful. I don't even think about the deep balls or deeper ones that he made to Roman Wilson, to DK Metcalf. I think of his touchdown to Kenny Gainwell. And that was when Kenny did all the work, you'll recall, but it wasn't quite the house that was being sent by Cincinnati, but it was a big part of their defense. They were coming. The Steelers had no extra blockers in. Spencer Anderson was tackle eligible. He went into the end zone. Darnell Washington was on the field. He went into the end zone. So the matchup at the front was an honest 5 versus 5. Gainwell goes out into the flat. Everybody's coming, but you watch it, and it's like some kind of Renaissance painting. The way the blockers all lined up, from Broderick Jones to Troy Fautanu, and almost like this horseshoe formation. They block everybody. They hold those blocks because they know where their quarterback is. Quarterback does not budge. Mason's not one of those. Mason's more old school-ish. Mason's going to stand right where he is, and he's going to go through his reads. He's going to go through his progressions. He's going to take the hit if it comes, but he's going to try to make the best possible football play. Okay, so from there, it's academic. Flip it to the running back. My point stands. That's what he does. Now, when you say, do you believe he's better for this offense, simply based on the facts, my literal answer is going to be no. But there are other things that he brings. If one of the traits that he brings to this offense on a consistent basis happens to be that he shores up its greatest shortcoming, awesome. Because all the rest of it becomes that much easier when it happens. How's that electricity out in North Versailles?
Well, it impacted the Wi-Fi router, which is why I disappeared. So, yeah, but we're back. Yeah, to add on that, listen, we talked about this heading into the season. You know, we talked about, you know, if Mason Rudolph is your quarterback, you have a pretty high floor. You know, the floor is pretty high because he does a lot of the things really well. Like he'll stand in the pocket, he'll go through his progressions. He is a competent quarterback. That's not an insult. If anything, that's a compliment. Like, you need a competent quarterback, especially as a backup, somebody who can come in, who can run the offense, who isn't going to make a whole bunch of egregious mistakes, and who can literally just be a distributor of the football. The problem is that when you get into the playoffs and you start going up against the Patrick Mahomeses of the world and the Josh Allens of the world and the Lamar Jacksons of the world, you then don't have the guy behind center or under center that can provide special every now and then. And not saying that Mason can't provide a special play every now and then, because he can throw the football well.
He can make
some good throws downfield, but it's not quite that level. And he hasn't proven that for a consistent length of time, more than a three game stretch back in 2023, pretty much. So now we might get a longer stretch of Mason now, because who knows how long Aaron's going to be out with this injury.
Right.
So,
yeah, fractures are weird. A couple of people are mentioning adjustments that were made heading into the second half, and they're referring to the offense. We feel like that there's offensive adjustments that were made. In most cases, everyone's just saying the word adjustments as if it's, you know, some magical singular thing that just falls from the sky. Let me tell you what adjustments were made based on information from within the team. These guys decided at halftime, because they knew Mason was going in, they were going to take X number of plays that Mason really likes to run. Mason checked back with those guys. Have they already run them? Meaning, did Aaron Rodgers use them in the first half? Because you obviously wouldn't want to keep showing Cincinnati consistent looks. They are prepared for these things. They don't just go, oh no, the quarterback's hurt. There are real live plans for these in advance, as Chris and I were discussing yesterday at the stadium. And they basically just said, what are the plays that Mason likes? Arthur Smith is of the belief that Mason benefits from tempo, that he's really good at tempo, that means move quickly, get to the line of scrimmage, no huddle. So they did a fair amount of that as well. Tom Arth, the quarterback's coach, was intensely involved in this process, sitting right there with them, because he knows what all of his quarterbacks like and prefer better than anybody. So if Mason says something like, yeah, I feel like I want to hit Metcalf and I want to do some stuff that's intermediate and whatever else, if that's the way that conversation goes, Arth is the one who can say, oh, then we're going to run spider Y to banana or whatever the heck they call these plays to each other. That actually was a thing, right?
Yeah.
Spider Y2 banana and everything, and Arthur Smith puts it into his plan. That's the adjustments that were made. They said, let's use the Mason offense instead of the Rudolph offense. It wasn't an adjustment in any way, shape, or form to the Bengals or even to the game.
Yeah, listen, if you look up any, and I said this on the show yesterday, on our post game show yesterday, but I'll say it again. If you look up any template of an offensive coordinator's play sheet going into a Sunday, where I'm talking high school, college, NFL, there is always a section of the play sheet that is dedicated to emergency situations, and one of those is a dedicated number of plays to your backup quarterback. If the backup quarterback has to come into the game, these are plays we can immediately go to. We're talking like we don't have halftime to adjust. Our starting quarterback is out on first down, second down's coming, backup quarterback's in the game. I have plays that I can get to, right? Like if I'm the offense coordinator, I have plays I can get to right away that I know my backup quarterback is most comfortable with. That is always part of the game plan. Always. Now, because of the halftime break and this happening so close to halftime, you then have the added bonus of using that time to have conversations with the quarterback, the offense coordinator, or the quarterback's coach, where you can then bring in a very, very a more detailed adjustment that you have. So it's really, really awesome to see that play out. And I think that's what you saw, because there was a difference in the Steelers offense in the second half, but it wasn't just because of Mason playing the way he played. They ran different types of plays that Mason is more comfortable with, as opposed to what Rodgers wants to do.
Exactly. And I mean, that's actually what happened. So that's what the adjustments were. I'm looking here for, here's Craven says, broken wrists take at least 4 to 6 weeks to heal for day-to-day activities, which playing a quarterback in the NFL wouldn't qualify as being. Let's let Rodgers heal and play Rudolph until he's 100%. These types of comments, no offense, dude, I know exactly what you're saying. Why you're saying it, just say it. Say you hope a guy is hurt so that Rodgers can get more of a chance. That's exactly what this is. Actually, as far as the wrist goes, every fracture is different. In every different part of the body, it's different. And then from there, even the man's two wrists are different in terms of their level of importance. Because this one, if it was this one over here, he'd have the additional weight and strain of throwing the football, but the precision component to it, if there's any discomfort there, then it's going to be off. Well, this is his left hand, so he doesn't need it to be at a precision level. There's also the factor of whether or not he would need surgery, whether he'd need a screw put in that helps facilitate or accelerate that healing of any fracture. But if he does, it's still a surgery. Surgery comes with its own timelines. We just don't know yet.
Yeah.
Okay. We just don't know. I would be stunned, that said, if you would see Rodgers out there Sunday in Chicago for a whole bunch of reasons, not least of which is that you have to have practices between now and then. Mm-hmm. And all that stuff we just talked about related to the playbook, guys, instead of doing it in 10 minutes, like those guys were forced to do yesterday, it was quite literally 10 minutes. They now would have, the whole week, which will feel like a lot of time compared to 10 minutes.
Yeah. I'm really, really hoping that the conversation throughout the week is not hijacked by Aaron versus Mason or anything of that regard. I'm
just hoping it isn't about the spitting thing, which is, for me, that's a one and done. You form your opinion on it, you move on.
Yeah. Well, I
You know?
think, and the thing is that I think the NFL is investigating it today, and so we may even get an
That's
answer
what's going to
of
happen in one way
Yeah.
or another. If they suspend that guy, it doesn't affect the Steelers in any way.
But what if they suspend Ramsey for throwing a punch? Like, I don't think they will,
Nah,
but
it's not
what
gonna
if they
happen.
do? I don't think so either, but this
Yeah.
is the NFL. You never know, man. The NFL is over policed by both the league and the officials. And if yesterday's game with the Steelers wasn't enough proof for you, then those who watched the Eagles and Lions last night know what I'm talking about. It was pretty egregious.
Can I tell you who else knows what he's talking about? This is for real. Our good friend, and I mean this, Simon Chester from Pro Football Focus, who is a subscriber to our site and just a great dude, who will reach out to me on occasion and say, "I see you came at us again." Has a great sense of humor about it. I'll tell you what, PFF gets a lot of grief, including on this program, and especially from all you peoples. Okay. However, where you have to give PFF credit, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, and I'd say it if we didn't have Simon up there on the screen right now. They went with a concept, and they ran with it, and they made it fly. And take it from somebody else who started a business that nobody else was doing on this continent and created this company completely from scratch and said, I feel like there's a need for this and this. This is the conversations that Simon and I have had. PFF went out on a limb and did this way before they were bought by Collinsworth, way before they fell in love with Myles Garrett and all that other stuff that we don't like about them. They went and they got the job done. And they made something out of it. And now what you see across the continent are copycats, imitators, and we know all about that too.
Yeah, I mean, I listen. I'm a subscriber to PFF, so like I'm not completely opposed to it. If I was, I wouldn't be giving my money to them. That being said, I still don't agree, and there's going to be almost nothing that convinces me that their grading system is something to really, really use to evaluate players. It's just not. I mean, it's admittedly subjective. I can't use admittedly subjective data as a real basis for evaluating a player.
Yeah, that's my one of the things that I think we're going to get to this point. We'll get back to Steelers and all that other stuff here in a second. But, you know, having Simon show up is pretty cool. When you look at the nature of what it is that they do and the information that they have, any and all analytics, whether they're film based, numerical based, or in PFF's case, they mix them both, is going to run into brick walls when it comes to football, because football is arguably the one sport where there's a correct answer for 100% of everything on the field. In other words, if you're talking about hockey, who was supposed to be covering who in the penalty kill? Does the coach really want you to go down and block shots, or is that not part of the penalty kill system? Baseball, what's your policy for when there's a ball in the dirt? Does your manager want you running? If so, is that a bad base running play? If your manager's telling you to go, there's certain elements to the game that to both hockey and baseball where you say, okay, this is the way it's supposed to be done. In football, it's 100%. It's 100%. You can wing it to an extent as a player, but there is a correct answer for the way your scheme was supposed to work. And in a lot of cases, the only people who know that are the coach and the player and nobody else.
Yeah, and that's like we ran into this earlier this season. Like when we see that Jalen Ramsey is credited with, or I said credited, but dinged for a touchdown allowed, when just because he was the closest defender, that does not mean that was his responsibility. That means that he made the adjustment to see that there was a busted coverage to try to run over there and circumvent it, and he couldn't because that wasn't his initial guy, but he gets dinged for the touchdown. Like that's what like the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. The thing that football has that like baseball, every outcome is defined. it's a ball or it's a strike. It's a hit or it's an out. It's, there are so many outcomes that are inarguable. It is an absolute outcome. In football, you get a lot of subjective answers. Did this player really win his pass rush rep or did he not? That is very, very much opinion based. And then you get into, this looks like cover 2 or this looks like cover 3 zombie, but you're incorrect. It actually is something else. Just because that's what it looks like to you, it's actually something different. Like there's just so much that is opinion based, and analytics get produced from it, and it skews it.
And there's also, but I also, if you guys have never looked at Pro Football Focus or you just hear people talking about it, for me, the value of PFF is the counts. I'll value the counts over the grades all day long, and by that I mean they count things that actually happen. Oh, and they're easily trackable and easily verifiable. Okay, yep. If there's a the pass breakups and so forth, it's more intricate than that. How many times a team will go through a certain formation and so forth like that. That's not opinion based. That's just cold hard fact.
And that's why I pay for the subscription, because like whenever the Steelers acquire a player and I don't know as much about the player, for example, like if they acquire a corner, okay, well, how much does this corner play on the outside versus play in the slot? Well, I can log into PFF and look it up. He has this many snap counts in the slot versus this many snap counts on the outside. All right, he has played more slot corner than outside corner over the course of his career. That's an immediate answer that I can go to. So there is and that's just one thing. So there's definitely value for it, but yeah, I just won't use a grading system.
So we're going to play a little bit of a game here. Which comment would be more offensive to the hosts of this program? The first one comes from Carlos Vera, who says Aaron Rodgers out, but Pitt won.
Oh,
now
no.
I
Pitt
have
did not win this
authority
weekend.
That Pitt did not win this weekend. Pitt lost to Notre Dame.
They did.
Pitt being a college.
It's hilarious, man.
Pittsburgh, the city, won. This one's worse though. Aiden says, "Are you guys going to be in Chicago?" We have to have a special category for these questions. There has to be like a special, the equivalent of the old Marvel No Prize, where you get nothing for it. You know what I'm talking about? You win the No Prize. No, this is going to be the first game that I miss in 20 years, Aiden. Yes,
we're at every game. Steelers, Pirates, Penguins, we're at every game.
Every game. It's what we do. It's like our whole, if we were, if this was DK Paris Sports, it would be our raison d'etre.
Can we get this narrative out of the way now?
Well,
I'm looking it up.
Go ahead and look it up. But okay, Himothy says we tend to lose in Chicago, and I understand that the Steelers have lost a couple of games at Soldier Field, and they've been disappointing games, which means they really stand out. Go ahead, two
since 1995,
and the games. Yeah, and do you know how I know that?
How? Because you were there.
I've been there twice. Yeah. That's it. I've only ever been to Soldier Field twice. I have virtually no recollections of it that don't have something to do with the anthem flap. Yeah. Which was what year? 2017?
That was 2017.
Yeah, that's all I've got. So
the Steelers last won in Chicago in overtime on a Norm Johnson field goal. That was in 1995, the year the Steelers went to Super Bowl 30 and lost to the Cowboys. They've been to Soldier Field twice since then. 2009, they lost 17-14, and then 2017 was the anthem flap where they lost in overtime to a really bad Bears team. They should not have lost the game, regardless of what happened with the anthem. But it's been 2 games. This is not going to Philly.
That is not a trend, my friends. They've played there twice. Not that they've lost there twice. They've lost, but they've played there twice in this century.
Seriously,
like attaching, John Henry Johnson really struggles against that Chicago Midway Monsters defense. You can do this into history as long as you want. So we need to throw that one out early.
Yeah, this is not Philly. This is not Oakland. other places that have legitimately been a house of horrors for the Steelers. We're talking 2 trips to Soldier Field and both were 1-score losses. And we're talking about the course of 30 years. Like, it's just not, it's not a story. Philly is a story because every time they go to Philly, they play terribly, and they've been to Philly way more often. I think the last time they won in Philly was like before, like, I think JFK or LBJ was in office or something like
that. Mario says, actually, this wins for best question of the day. Do you have an app?
We do.
We definitely do.
Yeah.
Chad Moore continues to poke fun at us. Dude, it's our livelihood. What do you want us to do? What do you want us to do? This isn't something we're doing for kicks. This is actually how we're putting the kids through college and school and how we're getting these drinks with no straws. Look, no straw on this one. Oh, you should see the look I just got.
Uh-oh.
I would be dead right now. Let's take it to the defensive side here for a little bit, Chris.
Yeah.
Because the defense really won this game. Steelers reverted Joe to classic footsteps Flacco. I don't know that Flacco ever looked nervous, but he moved.
They forced him to move.
Yeah. Which he did not have to do in Cincinnati. He could just stand there and be Flacco. Thank you so much. Look at that. Look at the love that went into handing me this straw.
That's awesome.
Did you see the last little flick of the straw, though? The last little, here's your straw.
Looked like a Harry Potter wand for a second.
That's right. It was like a Harry Potter wand. That's good.
Yeah, well, it didn't turn you into a rabbit.
It did not turn me into a rabbit. It would have turned me into something far more evil than a rabbit. The defense played really, really well. And I think that's kind of that's an important thing to not let go of. Chris, I know you've done some work this afternoon going back through the film for our app that we do have related to the defensive scheme. If you can walk us through, what exactly that you saw out there. Obviously, a lot more edge rushers on the field, less of a presence up front, but more mobility in the middle, I guess.
Yeah. The biggest compliment, or not compliment, but the biggest adjustment was the huge shift in schematics. I'm not going to go through all of them. I will urge you to download our app.
Give us one.
I'll give one. In the Week 7 loss against the Bengals, the Steelers were in man coverage 34.7% of the time, which is around their season average, actually almost right at their season average, which is 34.6. Yesterday, the Steelers were in man coverage 9.8% of the time.
Wow. As you can tell, I haven't seen your piece yet.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, they did no. I mean, okay. Here's another one. Cover 1 is the most common man coverage. In the Week 7 loss against the Bengals, they were in cover 1 28.6% of the time. Yesterday, they were in cover 1 7.3%.
Where did it all go?
It went into a lot more cover 2, a lot more cover 4, and significantly more cover 6. So a lot of too high, a lot of a good amount of match coverage as well. Yeah,
they went for mobility. They went for mobility, Chris. I think that's taking it and really simplifying it down. They said, "Listen, we're going to put some smaller, faster guys out there. We're going to put more of them." Mm-hmm. Kind of similar, to be honest with you, with the Brian Flores approach in Minnesota, where you're making sure that you have guys who can get around in a 2025, and especially when you're facing a team that probably isn't going to run the ball down your throat. With respect to what Chase Brown did in Cincinnati, it was the exception. And the edge rushers, I thought, more than anybody, made sure that Brown wasn't able to run wild. But let's give some credit here, too. Since they were lower in numbers, I actually brought this up with Mike Tomlin yesterday about the performance of his guys up front.
Yeah, I love how he did not go into the schematics at all, by the way.
Well, he didn't, but I mean, the way I asked the question,
Yeah.
you heard what I asked, and what he did was he spread around the answer, but he did acknowledge that the guys up front had to do the job. They had to stop the run. The onus really was for all of this to work.
Mm-hmm.
Cam Hayward, Keanu Benton, Y.A. Black, who I thought had a terrific day. Okay. These guys made things happen up there. I don't mean to leave out Derek Harmon. That's an accident.
Yeah.
Harmon played well too. They didn't run up big numbers, but they were stout enough and they were making sure, for the most part, there were a couple of blown tires there on the run defense. But, you'll give a guy a couple of big ones. Don't let him have the consistent 6-7 yarders. And that's how it went with Chase Brown. And I thought that was a big, big part of the defensive performance that's not going to get appreciated enough.
No, I agree. Yes, there were a few runs that they probably shouldn't have allowed, but it did help. It did help keep a lid on things. But the amount of zone coverage made Flacco hold on to the ball a little bit longer, which allowed the pass rush to get there a little bit more frequently, which definitely paid dividends. Really quick, there is actual, and this could be the last time we talk about it, Jamar Chase suspended 1 game.
That's it?
That's it.
Okay.
There you go.
I mean, there it is.
Jamar Chase suspended. I mean, it's a direct violation of the NFL rulebook. That did not surprise me at all.
Yeah, I mean, they don't want that happening. And bear in mind, for those of you who say 1 game, that's it. That's 1/17 of your season.
That's 1/17 of your pay as well.
It's 1/17 of your pay. And if you look at it, let's just do this here. Let's go with 162 divided by 17. Would that be the math? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like being suspended for 10 games in baseball or 7 games in hockey. It's a suspension. It's real.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there it is. Nothing else to say about it. Like we were saying earlier. Oh my God, there's 17 million different people putting in the chat. Chase got suspended. Chase got suspended. Okay, yeah. This is what's known in the news business as a 1-fact story.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually a terminology in journalism. It's just a 1-fact story. There's just nothing else to say.
Yep.
Skunkworks has that figured out here. Sean Harker wants to know what match coverage means.
Match coverage is, the best way to describe it is zone coverage with man principles. A lot like cover 4 uses the most amount of match coverage, but what you are doing is you are aligning in zone coverage. Whether it's cover 3 or cover 4, you're aligning in zone coverage, and it's taught differently between every defense. But the easiest way to say it is if a specific route is run into your zone, whatever zone you're responsible for, you will latch on to that player as if it's man coverage, and you will stick with him as if it's man coverage. The most common way to that you'll see it is in cover 4, in which the outside corners are ultimately responsible for the deep quarter of the field, but they will match what the number 1 receiver on their side of the formation is doing. And if that number 1 receiver runs at them at their deep quarter, they will latch on and start playing man coverage. They won't pass off to somebody else if he runs into another zone. So it is zone coverage with man principles. That's the best way I can try to describe it without getting a telestrator out and trying to explain it that way.
Brian Huff drops $10 on us here. Grayson Brown did that a little bit earlier as well. Appreciate those. Says, hey, DK and Chris, what a game. I took my girlfriend to her first game yesterday, and it did not disappoint. That place was electric. We stopped by the shop. I think he means the stadium, not the shop. And we spoke to the shop, too, and we spoke to a very nice lady who helped us.
They were not asking for straws.
They were not asking for straws. That's why she was nice to you.
Don't ask for straws.
No.
I remember him. I know exactly who he is.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Yeah, she remembers you, Brian. I think Brian's point here, though, the larger point, really leaps out, which is what a crowd. What the heck was that, Chris?
I remember I asked PQ after the game about it because PQ was PQ was one of the guys who talked about the crowd in Dublin. And so there was that one moment
that he wished occasionally that Pittsburgh would get like that. Right.
And so there was that one sequence in the game, and this was actually right around the right before Ramsey got ejected. The Bengals had that 3rd and 1. They run it. They get stuffed. It's now 4th and 1. They get to the line. Flacco's just doing he's like, kill this. He's checking to this. And the entire time the Bengals are trying to get the defense to jump. The crowd is getting loud. The Bengals do, like, Flacco does something. He kills something. The defense, you can see the players just like start going like this. The crowd gets louder. Flacco then checks something else. The defense starts doing this again, and then the crowd gets even louder. And this happens like 3 different times, and then eventually the Bengals call a timeout. But that crowd was getting louder and louder and louder. And you could see all 11 guys on the field just feeding off of that. Now, I don't know what happened that led Jamar Chase to then spit on Jalen Ramsey and then force Ramsey.
I don't think that had anything to do with it, but
but it all happened in that moment. So there was a lot of energy in the stadium at that point going on. So that was actually really, really cool to see. It was the most amped I've seen the crowd all season in action.
Yeah, it's been a while in general since we haven't had playoff games there in forever, but watching and listening to that place, and you can feel it.
Oh, yeah.
This was one of those old Three River Stadium style where you could actually feel the place. I mean, it was that into it when the Bengals had that super long, crazy drive with all the timeouts and everything. And every time they would come to the line of scrimmage, and you saw TJ's always checking out the crowd. TJ looking off to his side, going like this, like, okay. Joey Porter did a fair amount of it as well. I saw PQ motioning once. That was Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
That was really what all those people who say something like, oh yeah, this is like a home game for the Steelers when it's somewhere else.
Yeah.
No, the home games are played over here.
Yeah. And just talking about it. You talk about it's been a while since playoff game. Was the Jacksonville game in the 2017 season the last home playoff game in front of fans?
No, Cleveland. COVID year.
But was that in front of fans?
Yes, there were some fans,
but it wasn't a full stadium.
Of course not. No.
Yeah.
No, I want to say that around that point they were at around 20,000 or so that they were allowing in. With
we haven't seen that kind of an atmosphere in that stadium.
No. That's been a while. That was really, really something special yesterday, and I was impressed. I know that there's a sense for who gets into these games, who has the tickets, how far did they actually live from Pittsburgh, the people who have these tickets, how they hold on to them, how they get rid of them, who they sell them to, which is a long-standing problem here, instead of just selling them to whoever the hell takes them. Josh Dobbs here says, that's poor people buying aftermarket tickets. Okay, great.
Yeah.
I mean, that to me is your optimal situation, because it's poor people from poor people's not the, I mean, Josh is being facetious here, but it's, the people that might not normally be able to casually afford going into an NFL stadium and sitting in the lower level. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. We'll take that all day here. And then you also have people that make the trip. We have a lot of those who stop in here at the shop. One Slow Mazda says road trip all the way from New Mexico for the game. Hopefully you didn't do it in One Slow Mazda.
That's funny.
Jeez. Our good friend, the Pef, pipes in. I'm not saying Mason will give the front office a reason not to draft a quarterback. He won't. He couldn't.
No.
But depending on how long he's in, And if he keeps up this momentum, Mason in Pittsburgh just feels like it's meant to be. Don't set yourself up like that, my friend. Don't do that. Don't do that. Because what's going to end up happening, this, is Rodgers is going to come back. I was joking with somebody else in the press box yesterday that Mason could go 30 for 30. 6 touchdowns, no picks, no sacks. He could even throw in a couple of runs just for, and it's not going to make a difference.
No,
it's not going to make a difference. This scenario is exactly what it is in both directions, meaning you do have Aaron Rodgers in the house, and you also have a need, the franchise does, for a longer-term quarterback. So all those things they're in play. Just do what he does. His number's called. He runs onto the field. He gives you his best. Mm-hmm. Do what he does. This is not an unhappy young man. I thought he played really well, and I thought under the circumstances, even more of his performance.
Yeah, I thought he did exactly what he was needed to do, which a lot of the time, especially if your defense is playing well, that's all you need from your quarterback. You just don't screw it up. Run the football, play good defense, and then your quarterback is all he has to be at that point is a facilitator. I don't like the term game manager. Be a facilitator. And that's all you have to be at that point. And he did that, and he did it very well.
The term I'm going to be using a lot as it relates to Mason in our dialogue over the coming week is fit. Mm-hmm. I believe, and this goes back to a conversation I had with Arthur Smith several months ago, back when Mason was signed by the Steelers, mm-hmm. that Arthur sees a lot of things in Mason that he likes as it relates to stuff that he has done in the past. Now, Arthur also gets really defensive whenever you say, does he have to fit with the Arthur Smith offense and whatever? He hates that because what he wants to say is that he's making his offense work with the quarterback. Okay. Yeah. And that's fair. That's what a good coordinator does. He has traits that Arthur really likes. And obviously so does Aaron Rodgers. I'm not going to be getting into that stuff, the back and forth and so forth. I mean, really?
Yeah, okay. No, it's not like
Chris,
yeah.
Not to be one of the many people who ask you, hey, you should do a chalk talk on this, but you should do a chalk talk on what the heck happened to Rodgers when, why. After Dublin, he started. We saw it when it happened.
I don't think it was after Dublin. I think it was after the Bengals game, the first Bengals game, because that game he was way more mobile than we've ever seen him.
Like, and not in a good way.
No.
Good ways for him to be mobile.
No, well, in Cincinnati, he was
nice run yesterday, though.
But in Cincinnati, he extended. And he made plays after extending and getting out of the pocket. I mean, we're talking multiple throws in that game in which, and I think at that point, what we're seeing with Aaron is he feels like he's Aaron Rodgers when he's doing that, because that's what he's done. That's how he's become a 4-time MVP. He's been able to do the extraordinary things while doing that. Also, on top of that, if he doesn't trust the offensive line to protect him the way he wants to play quarterback, you're going to see what happens, because he obviously doesn't want to get hit. Why do you think he reacted the way he did in the moment when Broderick Jones tackled him after the play?
Yeah, what are you doing?
I'm 41 years old. He even said it after the game. In the week after, he's like, I'm 41. You can't be tackling me like that. That lets you know he's a 41-year-old guy. He doesn't want to be taking hit after hit after hit. So if it's in his mind, I don't want to get hit, and if he starts to feel anything about wanting to get hit, that's what you're going to see. We saw this when he was with the Jets last year. This was one of the things. Like, of all the things that Aaron Rodgers brings to the table, this is one of the things. Like right now, this version of Aaron Rodgers, and that's not a good thing. So. Oh, gosh.
You'll always win around here with a sense of humor. David Hart says, Chris, you should do a chalk talk on that 299 game.
3-part series, man. 3-part series on that cluster word I can't say on here.
Very, very good stuff. Nobody's going to put up anything funnier than this, though. Where did it go? I got to find it. Right here. From Dave says, Arthur Smith makes sure that Mason Rudolph has a straw.
Oh,
She's
Lord.
not even listening. She's not even
heard it.
listening. I heard it. It's not
I
funny.
don't understand. I already took a trip for the coffee and for the helmet and the strip.
Yeah, because we forgot to bring the Bears helmet from the
But you
place.
forgot.
I forgot because I'm stupid, and I forgot to bring the Bears helmet. And then so she went back. We live like a block away. She went back to get the Bears helmet, and then she made a special trip for coffee. So we didn't have time for that beforehand because I got up so late. And then this our coffee place, our Starbucks right across the street's closed for some reason today. So, hey, these are the good
Not
problems in
getting
life.
paid enough to be a secretary.
She's not my secretary. She runs the place, right, Chris?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody here knows that.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody here knows that. Last question for the day. Oh, man. This is a good one, Chris. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Our good friend Nathan asks, how about James Pierre? He's been a stud the last couple of games. No, Nathan, he has not been a stud for the last couple of games. He's been a stud every opportunity that he's earned this season. Now, before I make the Steelers sound really smart for having Pierre around, I'll remind everybody that they showed him the door after training camp.
Mm-hmm.
They had a rough time with this. And Chris had a very interesting interaction with one Danny Smith during that period, did he not?
Yeah, I wrote this on our app after the game yesterday. During that time where they wanted to bring him back to be on the practice squad.
Yep.
And I remember having an interaction with Danny on the
Pierre.
south side. Yeah, James Pierre. And I remember having an interaction with Danny Smith on the south side. They got to get him. They got to get me James Pierre.
They got to get him
They got to get him.
Bring him home.
I need him. Like that's I remember it. Like I need him.
He's so funny. How
Yeah,
open he is about
but
that
but
stuff.
but I understand because as I'm doing my projections for the 53-man roster, I had James Pierre on there every single time because
Every time.
I know how much they value him as a special teams player. Like I just do. Like that's why they brought him back. At the same time, we've now seen him grow into becoming a better, more reliable, more consistent outside corner.
Yes.
And now he's been given this opportunity. And every time even before Sunday, even before yesterday, every time he stepped on the field, it's like the competent thing. He's done his job.
Yeah, the numbers don't lie in this one, and I mentioned earlier when we had our friend from Pro Football Focus pop in here that they have statistics on there as well. It's not all just judgments and opinions and whatever. And Pierre's statistics, and I had mentioned this on the program several days ago, have been really, really sound this year. And it was interesting when I asked Mike Tomlin about Pierre yesterday, and I said, I said to him, Mike, have you seen progress over the year? And he went and he looked at me and went like this, years, meaning that he's just consistently gotten better as a football player. So
yeah,
it's to everybody's credit, but obviously more than anybody else, Pierre's himself. PQ said to me yesterday, that dude is a baller. Because I said, isn't it funny that PQ and Pierre were in on so many tackles together, considering their relative positions? No, right?
Yeah.
And they were hard hitting tackles, and it was almost like they were trying to see who could hit the dude harder.
I don't think anybody had I think the only person that might have had a harder hit than Queen in the game was Ramsey on Chase earlier in the game. Ramsey did hit Chase really hard one time earlier in the game, but Queen, I think it was Chase Brown running the ball. Queen absolutely destroyed whoever that was running the ball over the middle. But
he used a much more colorful term for that. He mentioned it to me. And it had something to do with real life criminal behavior.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I'm going to really date myself with this reference, but when Van Halen came out as a band, which is obviously a long time ago, they had one of the best marketing campaigns in rock history. It was a 2-page, well, this is also going to date me since it's in print, but it was a 2-page magazine spread that just said, if you don't like Van Halen, you're wrong. It was one of the most powerful ads of any kind I've ever seen. It was this shot of Eddie Van Halen. There's David Lee Roth straddling, flying in the air. Okay, 10 feet above the ground. If you don't like Van Halen, you're wrong.
Wow.
All of you who don't like PQ, you're wrong. On the field, off the field, you are wrong. It's as simple as that. You spend not even 2 minutes with him and understand what it is that he's doing out there and why he's doing it and the zest with which he's doing it, the passion. You're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. So anyway, that's what I've got for you. That's what this show is all about, to tell you that you're wrong.
Good stuff.
Hey guys, we're gonna be doing a double shot of Penguins soon.
Yeah,
real soon. I don't remember the exact date is here, but I haven't mentioned that. We're gonna be doing that. It'll come right after this show. So all those times when you football only people, and you know who you are, when you hear us talking hockey here and you're going, hockey. We're gonna have a place to just do hockey, and it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be good stuff here. I'll let you know about the date on that and everything else here. Astro Mikey is all stoked for that. Captain Crunch thinks it's pretty cool. Ryan wants a double shot of Riverhounds. We don't even have a single shot of Riverhounds to begin with.
Yeah. Yep.
Although, listen, you guys keep stacking 7,000 people into that tiny place over there across the river like you did the other night for the semis. For anybody who doesn't know, the Riverhounds are playing in Tulsa, Oklahoma, Saturday at noon for the USL Championship. It'll be the first championship in franchise history. The Hounds go back more than a quarter century here in our city. And to say that this is a big deal for those people would be a really, really big understatement, meaning the people that we know all the way to the top of the Hound structure, but also the members, the dedicated, passionate members of the Steel Army supporters group in the one end zone. Chris, I know you've been over there for games that they've played and what that can be like and how much it means to those people. It would be really cool if they won. It really would.
Of course. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's a championship. It's never happened before. It'd be really, really cool. I don't pay as much attention to American soccer as I want to pay more attention to it, but I think the game is. I have a lot of opinions about the game in this country.
Yeah,
right
that's
now,
part of what's beautiful about
it's really cool about what's going on. Yeah,
what happened just now though is that the Hounds, like every soccer team in America, are going to be filled with a lot of internationals. There're going to be a lot of unusual, unfamiliar sounding names and so forth. They won this match 1-0 over Rhode Island, and they did so on a goal by little Robbie Mertz from Mount Lebanon. And it was a gorgeous strike. He showed all kinds of patience in the box off to the right side. After, by the way, there was a really, really nice long range cross from midfield that was settled beautifully at the top of the box, dished across to Mertz, and Mertz just killed it. I mean, that was a world-class strike.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't some cheapie. It wasn't one of those, the American goals.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That young man from the Pittsburgh area really buried that American goal, and that was cool. And stuff like David Schaefer coming along and telling us that soccer is boring. All you're doing is dating yourself, my man. No offense.
It's also the most popular sport in the world. So, I mean,
yeah, that's just you're just telling everybody I'm old. Yeah. That's all that, that. No, really, that's not even being a jerk. That's what that is.
Yeah.
And this is, I say all the time how Pittsburgh is the only city in the country that has all the teams have the same first name and the same set of colors. understand that the Hounds are not an exception to that.
Yeah.
And they wear the black and gold with pride. And those people that are wearing those soccer scarves over there, those are all black and gold.
Mm-hmm.
I think the more people that end up showing, showing up for these things and supporting this team in both, it's easy to do now. It's an event. But in good times and bad, that plan that they have for that stadium over there, making it, up to 15,000 and getting USL up into Division I and everything else. Even Chris can get behind that.
It's awesome.
Don't be a soccer snob. There's a word for you. That's what that is. Soccer snobbery. I see you over there. The Americans who only watch the European soccer because
I want to see America adopt. What I want to see America do is not make the game so inaccessible for so many young players that want and deserve.
Yes,
that's my
way more Christian Pulisic and way fewer of the same last names from generation to generation to generation.
That's what I'm talking
on
about.
USMNT.
Yes,
it's
of
just
course,
a killer to see that everybody is related to somebody who played on the World Cup team from 30 years ago because it's the same people.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like I would love to see America adopt a similar relegation style with like tiered leagues and everything, same as England. But more than that, I want to see. Like my son played soccer this past season, and he's playing just in a regular recreational league. And he did very, very well. I mean, great. Scored like 10 goals in 7 games. Like he played really well to the point where, and this is his first season playing, to the point I'm like, do I need to get him on a travel team? Do I need to try to then start investing a boatload of money because that's what's required?
Yeah, that's what's
in order
required
for him to have any kind of history or any kind of future in playing soccer. Like that's how inaccessible the game is. It's not.
That's how Iceland, which is the size of the city of Pittsburgh, population-wise, has a better national soccer team than the United States does, because they have real programs for this and they involve everybody on the island.
Yeah.
Whereas the United States just cherry picks from this very, very selected but very, very wealthy elite group here.
Yep.
Last thing for the day is Toddy says the flopping just kills me. Dude, you would love soccer in Pittsburgh. The fans at Highmark Stadium have no use for flopping, including when the Hounds do it. It's awesome. It creates a totally different. They'll start yelling at their own guy. Get up! This is Pittsburgh. Get up! What are you doing? What are you doing?
That's funny.
Tremendous stuff. I'm so glad somebody brought that up. All right, guys, we'll sign off and we will hook up with you again tomorrow. You go get the app. Go do that. And then email me at dk@dkpittsburghsports.com for the big discount. Bye-bye.